Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have something that I've been waiting quite impatiently for quite some time. We have a very exciting entry into the Mattel Jurassic World, or in this case Jurassic Park, 30th Anniversary Hammond Collection line. Because it's our first chance to finally have a sauropod in the line, and of course what better sauropod to introduce to the Hammond Collection line than the very first dinosaur that we ever see in Jurassic Park, as far as like a full-bodied version goes anyway, because you kind of see the raptor first, but the Brachiosaurus. And the Brachiosaurus here looks absolutely awesome. The box art that Mattel has created for this is honestly incredible. They did such a great job, not only with the overall design, but the actual images that they've taken here of the box just looks fantastic, again with the rearing up version of the Brachiosaurus. And then of course we have the Hammond Collection humans down there with Alan, Ellie, and Hammond. And then if you turn the box over here to the side, you've got a really cool shot of the head of the Brachiosaurus, the Jurassic Park logo there as you kind of move down. And then a shot down here that says, check out what's inside with Mr. DNA, so that's pretty interesting. And then if you take a look at the opposing side of the box, you can see again Brachiosaurus, a shot from the film of that exact scene with the Brachiosaurus rearing up, as well as some information on the dinosaur and everything. And on the other side of the box, we've got the other kind of classic image there of the Brachiosaurus with its head twisted back, taking a bite to eat again from the trees, and then Hammond and everything, as well as some images there, you know, through the other side of the box here that shows off the figure itself, the size, all of that fun stuff. So I'm beyond excited to get this box open and check out the largest Hammond Collection figure we've ever seen. So let's pop this box open right now and do exactly that. So the front of the box did state unassembled, and they definitely were not lying, because once you open the box and pull all the contents out, this is what you are left with. Just an absolute massacre here, because we clearly have a Brachiosaurus that has exploded. Actually, we just have a Brachiosaurus that's not put together quite yet, but it looks really, really nice, honestly, here so far from what I can see, just kind of looking at these pieces. It is actually quite a bit better than I was expecting. And we also have this inside, which I'm pretty intrigued to take a look at. So on one side, you can see we've got a shot here of the Brachiosaurus, a really cool image, like the artwork here for it. And it says, "Be ready to experience moments like this at Jurassic Park." So I love that. But then here on the back, you can see how to make a Brachiosaurus private tour of the Jurassic Park Genetics Lab hosted by the park's creator, John Hammond, with Mr. DNA. And then down here it states, a mosquito feeds on the blood of a living dinosaur 100 million years ago. Find fossilized amber with a mosquito trapped inside and then extract the DNA from the ancient mosquito. Use frog DNA to fill in the gaps in the genetic code. Bingo, dino DNA, life finds a way. So that's pretty cool, actually. I definitely like that addition to this set. Absolutely a awesome throwback to Jurassic Park, which is exactly, again, what Brachiosaurus we have here. But anyway, normally when I review these larger sauropods and stuff, I tend to review them first to get the closer look unassembled, then I put them together. I think that's the same route we're going to take this time around, just because it makes it a bit easier. So let's go ahead, jump to a closer look at this destroyed Brachiosaurus, and we'll check it out afterwards once it's put together. So starting here up at the head sculpt of the Brachiosaurus, you can see again when it comes to the likeness, the general appearance of a Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus. Boy, did Mattel ever hit the nail right on the head. That looks as picture perfect, honestly, to me, as it gets when it comes to the head sculpt of the Brachiosaurus. I think they did a great job, not just on the general appearance, but also on the actual fine detail here. You've got really nice looking skin texture through the face here of the Brachiosaurus, and you get quite a few shots of the Brachiosaurus in the film where you get a nice close look at it, so you can really get a good idea of what the skin texture looks like on that dinosaur, and it absolutely is replicated here perfectly, I think, on the Mattel version. You can see there's quite a bit of color variation as well, as we've got various grayish tones and brownish tones. You've got like some variations of brown that run up and over the top of the head. You also have some darker tones that have been dry brushed really nicely here around the snout. Then you've got these lighter tones here running along the jawline, leading down into the lower jaw. And then you've also got a darkening here around the eye. The eye does have that kind of glass eye sort of a look. It actually looks like maybe it's a brown eye and a black pupil, but because it's just so shiny with the light hitting it, it's actually kind of hard to really get a shot there of what the eye looks like. But you can see it looks super nicely done, like very realistic, very lifelike. So definitely a great job, I think, on the eye. It looks better to me than the Tyrannosaurus eye did. As you can see, as you move back a little bit, we also have the ears sculpted out back there. And again, the skin texture is absolutely incredible. On top of the really nice paintwork we have through the course of the face, you can also see again that there's actually some speckles and stuff added, something Mattel does quite often, and I definitely like that because it does add a little extra color variation to it. You can also see the nostrils sculpted out up there. We do have an articulated jaw, of course. On the inside of the mouth, you can see a really nicely sculpted tongue, nice pinkish tone there for the tongue, nice gloss coat in there as well. You can see the teeth are all sculpted. They're all painted with kind of like a yellowish tone, so adding some nice realism, I think, to the figure. Really nice looking here on the upper jaw as well. And then again, you can see the pinkish tone as well as the fine detail there on the upper jaw. And the articulated jaw works really nicely. As you move back here, you can see we've got a spot of articulation right here behind the head, which absolutely gives you some very nice mobility in that spot. That works really, really smoothly. Absolutely beautiful articulation in that area. And then as you move down, you get into the neck, and the neck kind of has almost like a real feel, rubbery feel to it. Once you lead down, it starts here. You know, you can see the articulated joint. We start here. It is a hard plastic at this point, but then there's this little section here where you can kind of see it cut off, and then it becomes more of like a softer rubber, kind of a real feel for that area of the Brachiosaurus. But as you move down, you can again see they've actually done quite a bit as far as paintwork to this. You can see like a nice dry brushing moving along the back here of a darker tone, and then as you move down here to the side, there's a kind of light tan similar to what we have for the lower jaw that looks to have been dry brushed down this way as well, and that definitely adds some nice depth to the paint job. And then as you lead down here, you have again more of that tan running down through the underside of the neck. It is a slightly darker tone than what you see up here, more of like a beige, I would say, down here compared to the light tan we have on the lower jaw. But as you move down through the course of the neck, you've got really nice looking skin texture, really nice sculpt and detail, as well as an incredibly smooth transition from the other tones here, those grayish tones, down into the tone here of the, underside of the throat and neck. It looks really nice. And then of course we do have an exceptionally long neck for our Brachiosaurus, and that of course is to be expected when it comes to a Brachiosaurus, and you can see it kind of growing here in size as it gets larger and larger the closer we get to the body. And you can also see again another spot of separation here, which it's not very visible. I think they did a very good job of kind of hiding that, but we return back to that hard plastic, and again we have that softer feel here, and that's because the neck does have an articulated neck where you can kind of bend it and move it. It's not super flexible, it seems, but you can get like some twists in the neck and stuff, which is pretty cool. I don't know how much I'm really going to move that around, because I almost fear that moving it around too much might, wear that rubber skin in a bit, and I don't want to damage it over time. But I mean, that is the gimmick, that is what it's supposed to do, and it works pretty nicely. I will articulate it a bit more later when I take some images and stuff of it, but seems to work pretty nicely. And look at how nice that dry brushing looks here, moving along the back with that darker tone of like a brownish color, really highlighting that detail and showing you how nice the sculpt is for this Brachiosaurus. And I like that they've allowed those grayish tones to sort of creep through all of those brownish tones. That looks really, really neat. Definitely a gorgeous paint job in that area. And then we've got the body for the Brachiosaurus. We've got like the main part here, and we might want to move the camera back just a tad, and you can see exactly where the head and neck would connect right here. You can see that they've actually painted this entire area, so as you move the head and neck up and down, because you do have a spot of articulation right there, it's a little hard to do this right now when I'm back a little bit further, but you can see it can move up and down. And if you look down here, you can see how far that joint can go. It's definitely got some nice mobility to it, and you can see again that the paintwork is really nicely done as well here in this area. Super smooth transition, that nice lighter kind of khaki or beige tone for the underside, and then again the grayish tones up here. We do have more of that brown dry brushing again up here on the top. You can see that's applied to that area as well, and then running along the back of the Brachiosaurus, you can see the spinal column very nicely. And then as you move down here into the side of the dinosaur, you can see sort of like skin wrinkles and skin folds. You've got the shoulder right there, which looks really good. And you can see again that they've dry brushed some of that kind of light tan coloration over here into the stomach, as well as again we've got that speckling. So there's just like so much more paintwork on this than I actually was expecting. When I had seen the promotional images and everything, I thought it looked really nice, but I kind of felt like it was lacking when it comes to the paintwork. But here in hand, it's actually an entirely different story. I feel like the paintwork is way better than I was expecting it to be. As you move down and you continue to see how good that skin texture looks, all the skin wrinkles and everything, you can see again that nice transition to that lighter tone here for the underside, and really vibrant skin texture even down here on the underside of the Brachiosaurus. Really impressive. Mattel absolutely outdid themselves when it comes to the sculpt of this Brachiosaurus. I would easily say it's far and away the best sculpted Brachiosaurus from Mattel yet. And you can see we transition away from this, lighter tone here as we lead back into the tail. You start to see this lighter tone disappear. We, of course, also have the legs of the Brachiosaurus. So these would be the front legs because they're the taller legs. And you can see, again, we've got lots of variation of color to this, as we've got some nice elements of dry brushing and stuff that's been applied. Incredible skin texture yet again. You can see all the wrinkles and stuff as you move down. Really nice muscle definition as well. Once you move down here through the course of that leg, you've got the elbow kind of sculpted out, but you do have an articulated joint in the elbow. You do also have an articulated spot right here. Of course, this would move, forward and back, but we've also got this really nice spot here in the elbow to articulate the Brachiosaurus. And then as you move down a little bit further, you've also got one here in the wrist, which can go forward and back and swivel. Yes, the elbow can swivel as well. So nice mobility in that spot. And then as you move down, you've got the toes sculpted really beautifully. We also have painted nails, which is a massive plus. The nails have a very nice shiny appearance to them, so a nice gloss coat giving them that kind of realistic shine. And the legs, again, look absolutely fantastic. No matter where you look at them, they're beautifully sculpted, and again, really impressively well done when it comes to the paint apps. We've also got the other leg again that we would have for our Brachiosaurus, and you can see that as well. Again, looks just as nice as the initial leg did. Not really too different or anything when it comes to that particular leg. And then we've got the rear legs for our Brachiosaurus, just as nice as the front legs we had seen. Really nice, again, skin detail, skin texture, nice muscle definition moving down. Again, you've got the knee where we can articulate it. So you can see the knee articulates really nicely. Actually kind of goes both ways there. Can bend pretty much all over the place. As you move down, you've got the calf muscle nicely defined for the Brachiosaurus. And then we move down a little bit further, and again we have the foot sculpt as well. Nicely sculpted toes, nicely again painted nails. Love to see the nails painted. And it's the same articulation we had seen on the first leg, where you can kind of swivel it, move it back and forth, and then same deal here for the ankle. Again, same style of articulation. And then the opposing leg is going to look pretty much the same as well. Again, no real big differences, nothing that we really need to go over. So that also looks very, very nice. And the final piece of the puzzle is the tail, and as you move out here into the tail, you of course have a spot to articulate it here once it connects to the body, but as you move out, you can see again we have that nice dry brushing, so we've got paint all the way out onto the tail for the Brachiosaurus. Unfortunately, that lighter tone of the underside doesn't run out onto the tail, but they did apply that nice dry brushing here out onto the tail, and you also have the speckling, which I can see, and again, absolutely incredible sculpt work as you move out. You've also got another spot of articulation right here as you move out, and this as well can swivel and also move up, down, left, right, all of the areas you would want it to move. And then as you move out a little bit further, you can also swivel this spot, so just that little tiny extra added bit of articulation as you reach the tip of the tail. You do see the dry brushing kind of cut off right here, so we don't have any of that out here, but we do still have the speckling out there. But definitely a really nice looking tail, really nicely painted and sculpted tail. So now is the point where we've got to put this Brachiosaurus together, and we'll check it out once it's actually complete. Well, I will tell you one thing. To say the size of this Brachiosaurus is impressive would be putting it mildly. This thing is absolutely gigantic. You can see it completely towers over my lights, over my backdrop, all the way up there, joining some of the Beasts of the Mesozoic figures, as well as some other Hammond Collection stuff that I have up there. But you can see, again, it is massive, like so tall. I don't know if it's actually bigger than the standard Mattel Brachiosaurus figures. I won't be able to do a comparison with them in here, but I will take them outside, and at the end of the video, I will have some, footage of them there with the regular Brachiosaurus from Mattel. But I can say, again, this thing is absolutely one of the most impressive figures that I've ever seen. When you first see it put together, it is just mind-blowing how impressive this Brachiosaurus from Mattel really is. Now we're going to go ahead and get a size, and that's definitely going to be a task, but we'll try our best. So for a height, we are just going to get a very close shot here of the head so you can see where it falls on the tape measure. But for a height in this position, you're looking at right around 25 inches or around 63.5 centimeters. If I position the head correctly, that's probably where you're going to find that measurement land. But like I said, we can actually move the neck up. You can see it can go even taller, so that measurement could, of course, change. That's just the measurement for the Brachiosaurus in the position that it's in currently. And then for a length, and it's definitely going to be pretty big there too, about 41 inches or 104 centimeters in length. So beyond gigantic. And again, for one more idea of the articulation, we again have the swivel in the tail. We've got this spot right here, which you can move up and down, left and right, and swivel. We also have this spot of articulation in the tail, which can also move. And you can see there's actually a joint right there that allows it to go pretty high and then down pretty low. And this can move around pretty nicely. I don't know if it goes left and right. Not really, just mostly up and down. But then you've also got the articulation in the hip and shoulder, which would go forward and back. You also have the knee, which can go forward and back and swivel. Same deal for the ankles on both the front and rear legs. And then we've also got this spot, this joint here in the neck, which can go up and down. A little jerky, tough to do with one hand since I'm holding the camera. And then you've also got the wire neck, which can twist all over the place. The articulated jaw, as well as this spot of articulation up here in the upper part of the neck. So a lot going on when it comes to the articulation of this Brachiosaurus. But as far as a size comparison goes, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon hiding behind the leg of the Brachiosaurus down here. And then when we kind of pan out here and look up, you can see again, it is absolutely huge, like beyond gigantic in comparison to these figures down here. So that really, I think, says a lot about the size of this Brachiosaurus. We've also got a few Hammond Collection figures, and I just now noticed that the Triceratops has its tail down, so the rear legs are up off the ground, which actually looks pretty funny. But again, we've got the Velociraptor, the Triceratops, as well as the Irritator here next to the Brachiosaurus, which you can see if we just kind of take a nice wide shot here of it. Every single one of those figures is just so small. They don't even remotely compete with this Brachiosaurus as far as a size goes. Don't even need to really pan up and look at it up there. You can definitely see none of these figures are even close. And then we've got ourselves the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is my modified version with the replacement pieces. But you can see again, as far as the size goes, with this one, even the T-Rex, which previously would have been the largest Hammond Collection figure we had, is not even remote competition for that Brachiosaurus. That Brachiosaurus just towers over every other Hammond Collection figure we've had up until this point, and I'm pretty certain this one will remain the largest Hammond Collection figure for quite some time to come. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic Park 30th Anniversary Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus is absolutely awesome. I would probably say that there's a very good chance it's the best Hammond Collection figure we've had so far, just because not only is it super impressive but it is loaded with articulation. But even more than that, I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, it's the best when it comes to paint apps, because there's actually so much color on this, and you don't expect that for a Brachiosaurus. But Mattel really went above and beyond to give this a great paint job, a very realistic paint job, and again, so much better in person than any of the promotional images I had seen of it, or videos, or anything. Nothing could really prepare me for just how nice the actual paint apps are on this Brachiosaurus. They really did a great job going to the lengths of adding dry brushing techniques and stuff to it, and not just like one color of dry brushing. There's a few different tones they've used here to really highlight the detail and just add some more life to the figure as a whole. And then on top of that, they've got like that speckling going on through the entire figure as well, which I really quite like. So the paint job on this is honestly phenomenal for what it is. On top of that, the sculpt again is so good. It definitely looks like the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus, I would say perfectly. Like, they really captured the likeness of that dinosaur. They really did their homework and studied it, and you can see that, you know, pretty much through every Mattel Brachiosaurus, but I feel like this one specifically is just the best looking sculpted Brachiosaurus from Mattel up until this point. And the fine detail of that sculpt is incredible. The skin texture on this looks honestly insanely realistic. And I would love to see someone take a stab at repainting this, just because the detail looks so good. I can't even begin to imagine how nice that detail would pop if you gave it a nice, good, really realistic repaint. But again, even so, the paint job that we already have on this is quite nicely done. On top of that, you've got lots of articulation. Again, really nice articulation from head to tail, easily the most we've had on any sauropod from Mattel until this point, and it's all very smooth, works really nicely, and definitely allows some really cool posability and display options for your Brachiosaurus. And the wire neck is also a really cool idea, and I love the fact that once the dinosaur is kind of standing with its head straight forward, the wire neck looks totally natural to me, and that's one thing I was a little concerned with when I had seen the promotional images and they had shown off the twist in the neck. It looks a little iffy once you kind of turn the neck, because the skin doesn't look super realistic anymore, but I think it actually looks, again, just like I said with the paint job and everything, it looks a lot better here in person than I expected it to be. And even the wire neck, you know, same deal for that. And then, of course, on top of everything, it is absolutely gigantic, far and away the largest Hammond Collection figure that we've had so far, which definitely makes it one of the most impressive as a whole. So if you are interested in grabbing one of these for yourself, you can either check your local Target, or I will include a link in the description to where you can purchase it on Target. It kind of has been going in and out of stock over the last few days. I'd imagine pretty much everybody's been grabbing it the second it goes up, because it's a very exciting brand new release. So if it's not available currently, just, you know, sign up for in-stock notifications, and then it'll notify you once it goes back into stock. One way or another, definitely a huge recommendation from me. Make sure you grab this gorgeous Brachiosaurus, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.